It's Tuesday night, that means it's time for some touring car action. Champions of the Future's World Touring Car Championship heads itself to Interlagos. We start next.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tuesday night here on RaceSpotTV. Welcome to Champions of the Future's World Touring Car Championship. We are set for another 2 rounds of intensive racing here on the world's greatest sim racing broadcaster, RaceSpotTV. We are about ready for race number 1. You can see practice has just concluded. Let's have a look at your qualifying results. As you can see there, it's coming up on your screen right about, well, now. There we are then. So these drivers are getting themselves ready for qualifying, so for the race here. And it's Michael Hall on pole position. Qualifying time on 1:36.170. Magic Sedgwick lining up alongside him on the front row of the grid. David Baker in 3rd. Pete Newman in the 4th position. You head on back and you can see those starting positions here. As, we're not going to lie to you, it's the 3rd race in a row here from the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace. So if you're thinking that Brazil's just getting a little bit repetitive, don't worry, we're with you. But it's the way the scheduling works here, and it means we are set for some good racing. Notice the skies are just a little bit dark, just a little bit cloudy here today. That means that we're going to have ourselves a little bit of fun, as we notice that these drivers in towards the center S on lap number 1. Well, it could be very, very interesting. Cam Walsh is here. He's giving me a sad face. Cam, what's up?
Well, I got here because we were supposed to. There's humdingery going around apparently with other people, I suppose. But you know, it's just you. And now, though, on the positive side, you get to watch some great World Touring Car Championship in Interlagos.
Yep, just the 2 of us. We can make it if we try. Just the 2 of us, you and I.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they can make it into turn 1. We'll find out, though, and see if we can't keep the kill counter going for how many Kias we put on their roofs this season. But ultimately, though, Interlagos, a good track for sure, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, let's have a look then. There is your field. Just working itself infield section of the racetrack. They met nice and neatly in the centre of the racetrack here at Interlagos. I don't ever understand that one why. Because there's certain tracks we have to do a full pace lap. Place like Sebring, for example. You know, it's a very long track. It takes hours to get around Sebring. Whereas here, it's one of the shortest racetracks that the World Touring Car season will go to. And they think they're just going to make them meet up in the middle of the circuit. Why not? What you can see, though, is that pace car is already heading itself down in towards Yunsao. That means that the field is in the command of the driver of Michael Hall as they head themselves through Yunsao itself. And it's the third race in a row that we've done here, so therefore I don't even need to figure out which corner is which. It's ingrained into my memory again. These drivers are now coming through turn number 15 on the racetrack. It's really the corner that no one ever pays any attention to. If you want to give it its real name, it's called the Subida de Boxes, also basically known as the place where the toilets are before they come down into the final corner. It's that left-hand kink, which is leading on towards the start-finish straight. And of course, from here, these drivers are going to brake as late as they humanly possibly can. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another round of the World Touring Car Championship here on RaceSpotTV. Champions of the future underway already, going free wide in towards turn number 1. There you can see your field. 20 minutes on the play clock, down in towards that first corner, and look already, Michael Hall got himself a good start. We've got ourselves a little bit of contact already mid-part of your field, as we would expect, into the centre S, but everyone is actually going to make it through that corner okay, without a real incident. Now they'll come down this back straightaway. Ben Palmer, Ashley Sutton going too wide. Oh, into the wall! Sutton into the wall! Palmer into the wall! Big contact there! Huge accident! Sutton out of the race in the curve of the soul, lap number 1. What a moment there. What a moment. Replay coming up immediately. Well, Cam, it's been a while since we've seen something that crazy on the first couple of corners, but the curve of the soul claiming 2 big victims there.
Yes, 2 absolutely large victims. Now, it's not even just that they wrecked their cars for this time. They're really messing up the rest of the race here. This is pretty much it as far as the World Touring Car Championship. This is huge. Ashley Sutton, of course, says the cars absolutely were flying over. Now, it only did involve those 2 cars. The rest of the field managed to get through it because they were airborne, which is a good thing to do. But no, those guys, their days are certainly going to be heavily handed, and now they've got to try and figure out what they're going to do for the rest of the race here.
Well, we're getting another look on board there with Ashley Sutton, number 16 TQR car in towards the exit of the curve of the soul. 2 cars into one. Do not go. Nothing there that Sutton could have done. That one, but the second look of that has to go on to Ben Palmer. We will get a look from our aerial coverage brought to you by And One Design. This is it then through the curve of the soul. We'll slow it down. We have a look and you can see, well, let's see, there's Sutton is all the way on the edge of the racetrack. He does move across actually a little bit. It's kind of 6 dozen one, half a dozen another. You can't fully blame Ben Palmer there. I'm not quite sure what you can say, but big incident at the start of this race. We do stay green, and Magic Sajovic is to the lead of this motor race. He's got himself past Michael Hall. Lap number 1 of this event, Cam, really has not been good for Team CQR.
No, absolutely not. But I will say, though, this does allow some other people to get into the picture because, of course, Ashley Sutton normally is right up in front, normally the one to keep the eyes on. So other people to keep your eyes on, like Michael Hall, like everyone else at the front of the pack right now. And those guys are going to be trying to do their best to make up as much as they can on Ashley Sutton. Of course, they're going to have to recover for that CQR team. But ultimately, though, the front of the field right now is just trying to settle themselves in, and they're doing a very good job pulling away with Micah Sakowitz there out in front with a rather large gap.
Yeah, there you can see between Michael Hall and David Baker, it's just 4 tenths to a second. Not the start, maybe, that Michael Hall would have wanted. Out then of turn number 13, Yunsao they come down towards 14-15, the final 2 corners on this racetrack. Ticker running along the top of your screen. Now, let's have a look. Your top 14 drivers are separated by just 9 seconds on this racetrack. They can see rear end of your field is the driver of Ellis Stevens. He's not that far off the pace right now. He's right behind Keith Hamilton as they work themselves down in towards turn 1. Rusty Laidlow very close to the rear right now of that driver of, I said he was very close actually to the rear, so it was Stephen Burke But he has fallen back just a little bit. As you can see, Ladler and Paul Smith, they're scrapping it out for positions now as they head themselves down this back straightaway once again in towards turn number 4. They come. The Interlagos, turn 4 and 5. These drivers are pushing it right now. As well, Cal, I have to say, Keith Hamilton and his Stevens, this is right at the rear of the field, but still a nice little scrap going on. You've got scraps going on all the way down this field right now. Teammates battling with teammates, non-teammates battling with non-teammates. You can see, for example, Alexander Day, Liam Atkins battling for position, the 2 full race drivers. And then ahead of them, you've got yourself still Baker, Newman, P3, P4.
Yeah, and it's always great to watching the World Touring Car Championship here on with Champions of the Future. Watching these guys actually race, it is the whole field, the whole pack pretty much is just fighting the entire time, and I would expect non-teammates to fight Will. A little bit of Americanism there, but that's okay. But no, these guys, there's always a competitive package with these Kias, and especially with these guys right here. A couple of people, pushing their cars to the limit, running wide, and with Interlagos, you push it, you push it good. There's a lot of forgiveness pretty much around the track, and you can kind of put your way back on the track, and that really keeps these fights going, which is great for us in the spectator seats for sure, in the commentary booth.
Now, when you push it real good, can you also spend 15 minutes and say 15% or more on car insurance?
No. Now it's about 14 minutes now. They've efficiency.
Okay, yeah, of course. That's only because of faster internet.
Yes, faster interbutts, yes.
Yeah, there we can see Michael Hall, David Baker, just a tenth or so of a second separating these two drivers. Baker's going to look down to the inside and sneak there, down in towards turn number 4. But Sadjevic has been caught up there. So Sadjevic, he had the race lead. They're almost going to go too wide down into Ferradura. That fail race online car isn't able to do anything. And here comes Hall down to the inside from Ferradura as the driver Sadjevic is pushing a little bit wide. They'll be too wide down in towards turn number 8, and actually it's going to be potentially a second position loss because Baker is going to look on the outside into Pinheiro as they're now going to be side by side down towards Pico de Pato, and actually it will be Baker with the inside line and the infield section. 1, 2, almost 3 positions lost there for that driver of Magic Sadjevic. He's going to be side by side. Oh! Drifting there for a moment is Pete Newman in the number 58 Pete Newman car. What a save by Pete Newman. Replay coming up, and Newman there very, very lucky. That looked very close there. 5 drivers separated by pretty much nothing. Pete Newman almost involved in a big incident with Magic Sadjevic, and he is actually now ahead of Sadjevic, and that is on the run down in towards turn number 1, Cam.
Yeah, and that would have been another incident involving people in the front of the field. I think how that that accident would have developed, that probably would have taken out a lot more faster
Wait
people.
for it. Sadjevic is out. Sadjevic has just been spun around. This is down in turn number 1. He's having to take the shortcut there down through the center S's. That's going to cost him a top 10 position for the time being. We saw the back end of that. We'll get ourselves another look at that. Not a day for Magic Sadjevic. All of a sudden, he started this race on pole position. A little bit of beating, a little bit of bumping. All of a sudden, his day has gone from good to incredibly bad. Let's have a look then. This is the replay coming up on your screen as the drivers work themselves down towards the start-finish line. They'll come down in towards turn number 1 in just 1 moment's time. We'll get our aerial coverage up. We will show it to you in slow motion then down in towards turn number 1. That number 58, that Pete Newman car there, just turning that driver on Magic Sadjevic around. I don't think that's the first Pete Newman car. That's the second Pete Newman car in line. But Sadjevic is now down into P number 9. What a crazy 2 minutes it's been here, Cam.
We had a leader with quite a good gap to, he just got pretty much gang rushed by those 3 or 4 cars, pushed him right out of the way. Then by the time he got pushed to the outside line, there's such a trail of cars here that really his car became kind of an improvised braking device, which you never see in motorsports, Will, certainly. But no, he managed to save it twice in a row, the rear end kicking out on that Kia, and he's managed to keep that thing off the wall twice. That's impressive in itself, but now we'll have to see what he can do, as now he is well back in the pack now.
There you can see, just heading himself through the final corner is the second Club CQR car. One of them leads the race. The other one is currently scored in P number 7. Of course, there are 3 CQR cars in this field. third one is actually starting all the way down in P number 15, but Miles Coletzi and the number 26 car heading himself now on the exit of the curve. The star right behind him is Matthew Bunn, battle for position as they now come down towards the Interlagos turn 4, turn 5 complex. Down to the inside will be that driver of Matthew Bunn, and he's not going to get it initially, but the Coletzi having to defend heavily there. Three drivers separated by pretty much nothing as they head themselves down into Ferradura, turn number 6. Before the corner that even I am going to try and pronounce, it is the Curvo de Lorenzina, now down in towards turn number 8, and 2 wide racing down in towards turn number 8 cam.
Lagos is... Uh-oh.
Go on, carry on.
Oh, no, I'm here.
We lost you for a moment.
Oh, all right. I didn't know. I had the GPS. I came back. No, the whole intersection at Interlagos is great for side-by-side racing. We've seen it in top-end GT cars, top-end prototype cars. So these Kias most certainly can run 2 wide here at Interlagos, and that is always fun to see.
Well, there we can see Matthew Bunn's actually just been passed there by Magic Sajovic. Sajovic will ride a lap on board with him then as they work themselves down towards turn number 1 again. No, it won't actually, because David Baker, Michael Hall down towards turn number 1. Baker looking for the race lead. They work themselves down in towards the center S on the outside. He will go. He's got the crazy girl on his lid as they work themselves on the exit of the corner. He will have to remain in line for the time being. He'll get himself a second bite of the cherry. Get out of the hole as you work yourself down towards turn number 4 and 5. Although he's now under pressure from Pete Newman as they head themselves down in towards turn number 4 and 5. And Baker, Newman, this is a 4-way close battle right now. Very, very close. Update, well, Coletzi wasn't able to get himself there past the driver of, Sajovic wasn't able to get himself past Coletzi. They remain in order for the time being. It's the first time I think I've ever seen Crazy Girl on a RaceSpotTV broadcast, and I'm a little bit scared. I mean, very scared right now. There we can see her. There we can see as these drivers, the Tigers Wood car, Dorito sponsored, heading itself in towards turn number 10. Bico de Pato once again. Your top 5 drivers, Michael Hall from David Baker, Pete Newman, Rusty Laidler, and Paul Smith. We have got ourselves... Liam Aikens had himself a little bit of an issue. There you can see him. He's had to pop on towards pit road in that number 47 machine. So he is now the driver scored second to last. Ashley Sutton is once again back on the field. They somehow got that car repaired, got it back out onto the racetrack. He's currently scored in P number 14 of 16. We had to say it's a smaller car field than what we used to hear in the Championship of the Futures World Touring Car Championship. And that is meaning that we're going to have ourselves a very interesting race number 2, because there's less drivers to go through. I think people will be a little bit more aggressive than what we're used to them seeing. Drivers now heading themselves on the exit of turn 2, down through the curve of the soul. This is one of the most magnificent corners in Grand Prix racing. Of course, we saw the incident between Sutton and Palmer down at turn number 3 this time. And of course, this was the place which became the Brazilian version of the World of Champions in 2003. One of my favourite races of all time. Why? Well, because Giancarlo Fisichella won his one and only Grand Prix at that racetrack, which was also Jordan's 200th Grand Prix, even though they had to win it in the courtrooms compared to on the racetrack. Isn't that the Jordan way of doing things? It's time for you guys to decide. There you can see your top 4 drivers still separated by pretty much nothing. In fact, you've now got 6 drivers separated by pretty much nothing. As you can see, Stephen Burke, Rusty Laidler side by side on board with one of these drivers. It's Stephen Burke in the number 139 car, and well, he has just moved himself ahead of the driver of Paul Smith in this battle for P number 5 and P number 6. But we were talking about the driver of Magic Sajovic just one moment ago. Let's spend a moment right ourselves on board of him as he's in traffic, trying to get himself past that number 11 car of Matthew Bunn. He's looking down to the inside through Michello. That is a dangerous move. He's going to try and do it again into Yong Shao. Let's ride ourselves on board of him, down through towards the front straightaway, down into turn number 1 and onto the backstretch.
Bless you.
Well, here comes Sajovic then, down the front straightaway. He will come. And, well, the gap between himself and Matthew Bunn is pretty much nothing. Well, it's an interesting one here, because the fact that Bunn is somehow able to stay ahead of Sajovic. Of course, there is that third driver in line it's Miles Coletzi. And so often, Cam, when you're that second driver in line, it's frustrating because you haven't to play attack and defense. But the good news is, generally you have a job. I don't think this time he's going to have that protection because Sajovic is right behind him, down in towards turn number 4 and 5. Sajovic is going to look himself down to the outside, going to try and set himself up for Ferradura, not able to do so, going to hound on the rear of that number 11 car just ahead of him. This is a great little scrap right now for P, number 8 and 9 on the racetrack.
Oh, that it is, and it's just setting people up for lines. That number 11 car is doing a rather good job keeping Sakowitz there behind him. I'm gonna get throat punched for the butchering of his name there today. But ultimately, though, he's trying to just keep the lines, keep the pressure on. But it's really, really hard to try and pass people on the outside, especially on a place like Interlagos. Unless you can get alongside after the Senna S, after that straight, if you can get alongside and keep that going all the way until you get back up the hill, but that's just so long for these cars at these low speeds that it's just difficult to carry that too wide. And so unless he gets something, unless he gets a little frisky, I'm not quite sure with the way that this car in front of him is doing a good job doing the defensive lines. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get around without saying hello.
Well, here they come once again down in towards turn number 1. Will it be a case of better luck this time then? We can see the Fair Race car alongside in towards turn number 1. And now it will be a case of, oh, a little bit of contact there. A little bit of beating, a little bit of banging, but the Fair Race car there. Oh, Sakovic is once again ahead. He moves himself now up into P number 8. His next driver to catch is Miles Coletzi. The issue is there, Cam, because they're fighting for so long. They've lost 2 seconds in 1 lap. And now it's the pretty driver of Alex Bristow trying to find himself past, past Matthew Bunn. And these are probably the 2 most interesting race cars on the field. We've got ourselves the Hokey Balls number 11 car, the number 99 TQR. I'm going to take myself a little bit of acid and then paint a car machine.
Well, you know, the people that drive touring cars aren't that bright to begin with, and then you give them the internet, and well, these things just happen. But most of the cars in the field do look absolutely fantastic, I must say. I don't know who's on the roof of that car. I'm going to have to investigate further, of course. It's certainly not the Hulk Hogan car that we could see on Thursday for the Games of the Future. The V8 Supercars at Road Atlanta. I almost said Road America. It's most of the same guys, though. But, wow, that is a very trippy hood from the vehicle of Alex Bristow, but I do see a RaceSpot logo, so I gotta say nice things.
Yeah, for now. Out front, Michael Hall still leads from David Baker. Just having a look through the field. It's close between P2, 3, 4, and 5 right now. This is Stephen Burke, Rusty Ladler, and Paul Smith as they head themselves now on the exit of turn number 3. Covered is so. You can see one driver looking down to the inside to head himself down in towards turn number 4. Not quite close enough there, Cam.
No, not at all. Though they were starting to stick out. Hey, I have live pictures, by the way, which is outstanding. Looks great. No, Michael Hall is still with that good gap, though. That Castrol car of Steve Burke is definitely running a defensive line. The number 89 vehicle, or actually it was a Castrol vehicle until something happened. But ultimately, though, he's trying to stick his nose going down in the inside of this cloister of turns here. I don't know what to call it. I always call it the inside of the track, just because if you look at the track map, that's that inner cloister of turns, the slow section, whatever you might want to call it. But he keeps trying to stick his nose down there, Paul Smith, but ultimately it keeps getting cut off by Rusty Ladle and Stephen Burke. But right now this pack of cars here, they're all staying right in touch with Michael Hall. One mistake from Michael Hall or David E. Baker, and that pack is going to be set upon them. And hopefully, unless we wouldn't see what would happen to Mysak Sakowitz, of course, after he had been in the lead, he dropped right back down to 8th.
Right, here's the deal. 2 laps to go at the line. A lap time takes about 1 minute 38. There are 2 minutes on the play clock, ladies and gentlemen. It's a 2-minute warning now. There we are, down in towards turn number 1. Baker trying to put that pressure onto Michael Hall. The gap is currently 1.2 seconds behind. We've got
Stephen
2
Burke.
drivers in an incident. That's Stephen Burke and Pete Newman. Down in towards, they're 2 teammates. It's turn number 1, 2 Pete Newman cars. Stephen Burke and Pete Newman. Pete Newman racing there, down in towards turn number 1, Cam.
Oh, and what happened? It wasn't even between Stephen Burke and Paul Newman. Pete Newman. Paul Newman. Pete Newman is
a little bit different.
A little bit, but Rusty Lather there kept the inside line, and Stephen Burke tried to clip the nose off him going into the turn, lost the car, and managed to skip it right into the rear end of Pete Newman and taking him along for a ride.
Well, there's a super slow-mo replay there. Stephen Burke, you can see him Japanese drifting into turn 1, slamming to the rear of his teammate of Pete Newman, down in towards turn 1. I tell you what, the car control skills of some of these drivers today has been absolutely magnificent here. And Cam, I have no other way of saying this, but it has been pretty darn good.
It has been an interesting race for sure. I know this is the first time ever we've been in Interlagos. We've never been in Interlagos before this, I'm fairly confident. And it just goes to show, once again, which I'm pretty sure I say every time here, is David E. Baker is closed up right behind Michael Hall coming off the straight here. Might go into the Senna S's too wide for sure, as Michael Hall already the defensive inside line, as the two Kias...
White flag. Carry on.
Yes, yes, 1 lap to go. But no, Michael Hall, the defensive line going into the Senna S's. David E. Baker manages to keep it on the outside. They're going to clip each other. No, actually, they're not. That was very close. I tried to predict that one, but no, they proved me wrong, and Michael Hall, once again, wins out in the battle there, and David E. Baker, with that rather creepy roof, will stay behind. Doesn't lose the car, but ultimately, though, this is one of his last opportunities, to get by, and he didn't do it.
As these drivers now head themselves down towards turn number 5, 6, 7 for the final time in this race. There's a look then at David E. Baker. The white flag is out. There's 1 more lap to go. Well, Michael Hall has got himself a 3/7 advantage. Magic Sajovic and Mars Coletti scrapping out for position. This is down into Ferradura. Let's be serious for a second, because Sajovic wants to get himself up through the field. Coletti just ahead of him as they head themselves down into this infield section. Well, if you're Michael Hall and David Baker, you've already gone through Ferradura. You've already been through Coda La Girania. You've already been through Pinheiro. You've been through Bica de Pato. You're down through Mugello in towards Juntao for the final time. And here you can see David E. Baker working himself out of the inside. It's not the final time. There's another race still to go here. And here we can see Baker putting that pressure on. I don't think it will be close enough as they head themselves towards the start-finish line. Michael Hall, the number 1 CQR driver, will win here at Interlagos race number 1, but only by 0.3. David Baker in 2nd, Laidler coming home in 3rd, Paul Smith in 4th, then P number 5 will go to Pete Newman, but not before Paul Smith wrecks himself at the start-finish line, Cam.
Well, I believe he might have heard that I was requesting at least 1 on the roof, and he managed to do that at least for a second, but ultimately everyone coming home in line, though very close between Mychek and who was that, Miles Coletti. They're very, very close, split by 0.2 seconds, really. And ultimately, though, some fairly good racing. A terrible incident between Ashley Sutton right off of the start with, who was it, somebody, Ben Palmer, I believe. But ultimately, though, it's just what it sets the field for a second race.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire there for Pete Newman, down towards the start-finish line. We'll get another look on board with him. But, well, we had ourselves
Paul Newman,
technically, Paul Smith even.
Paul Newman, depending on who you want to call a name,
Yeah, there we can see on board from Paul Smith down in towards turn number 1, final corner of the final lap and beyond. Oopsie daisy, what a shame. Let's get ourselves a look at your final race results, and ladies and gentlemen, Michael Hall claiming victory by just about 0.3, just over 1/4 second from the driver of David E. Baker. Then in 3rd place, it's going to be Rusty Laidler. P4 will be Paul Smith, then Pete Newman, Mark Scalazzi, Magic Zajovic, Bristow, Stevens, and Bunn. Behind them, we have got the driver of Keith Hamilton in P number 11, Stephen Burke in 12th, and Alexander Day, Ashley Sutton, Liam Adkins, and Ben Palmer run out your 16-car field here. We'll step aside for a couple of minutes. We'll be back with mid-race interviews after these messages and a word from iRacing. We're RaceSpotTV, and we are the best broadcasters in the world. Period.
Okay.
We're so excited to be bringing the Nürburgring to everybody. It's by far the most requested track that we've ever had. I've been with iRacing since the beginning. I can't tell you how many people I've met at trade shows or racetracks and demos that we've done all across the United States and even in Europe, and it's always the most requested track that we've had. And it's always been kind of a sad answer, no, we don't have it. When are you bringing it? And we never really had a good answer. And obviously we announced this last year, and it's super exciting. I mean, it really is one of the premier tracks in the entire world.
The Nürburgring, to me as a race fan, is the holy grail of racetracks. Even from the gaming aspect, just getting that car around that track was a personal achievement by itself. It's kind of got this iconic status to it that makes it different than any other track in the world.
We actually have a lot of history with the Nürburgring dating back about 20 years. We created a version of the track for Grand Prix Legends, which was a Formula One simulation for the PC. But this will be the first time that we've worked on the track with laser scan data, highly precise measurements, and of course the iRacing standards of quality. So we're really excited about this project and we can't wait to release it. There are two main facilities at Nürburgring. There's the Grand Prix course, which is basically a modern F1 style racetrack. And then there's the Nordschleife itself, which has been around for decades. And of course, the combined course, where you can take the Grand Prix course, drive around it, and then there's a point where you branch off onto the Nordschleife and you continue there all the way around the Nordschleife and then back down to the Grand Prix course. And the end result is an extremely large, unique racetrack. We arrived with a really large crew. Actually, 4 of us made the trip, and we spent a week there photographing the track, taking video recordings of the racetrack, the surroundings, the scenery, the towns. And when it's all said and done, we returned home with a massive amount of data. If you took our largest project ever, this is probably 4 times that size. So it's going to take a lot of work, but it's really our plan and our intent not to cut any corners and really produce and create the best version of the Nürburgring possible that we can. The terrain and topography of the area that surrounds the Nürburgring is really important to the character and accuracy and feel of the track. We're really working on new ways and methods and types of data that we can use to build the best topography and best terrain model possible. And it will be something never before seen in iRacing or racing sims in general. We have a laser scan of the track, and that laser scan is incredibly dense. Essentially, there's so many points that you could take a quarter and lay it on the laser points, and the quarter wouldn't fall through. So we're taking that level of detail from the scan, and we're trying to translate that into what you see in the sim.
You won't find the level of detail that we bring to tracks anywhere else. You guys expect that from us, and we'll continue to do that. It's not just purely laser scanned. It really will have personality, and I think that that's what's going to make our track unique.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to RaceSpotTV. The cough was necessary. It was me telling other people to shut up. We are currently doing one of what I like to call an ESPN megacast. I've got, on one hand, I've got TeamSpeak and I've got Randy Chilworth talking about full GTs and how awesome they are with Cam Walls. But then I've also got all the people from Holy Balls and Great Tiger Woods here on RaceSpotTV as they're going to review their race. So, well, first of all, can I ask a question? What's going on with Crazy Girl? She made me hard.
Who is Crazy Girl?
I know that's a new experience for you, Will, but it's
Crazy
okay.
Girl is the girl, the internet main girl, the creepy girlfriend.
Oh, she's on, whose car is it? It's
Paul's, I think.
No,
No,
Paul's
that's a
not
different
Ren and
team.
Stimpy. It's normally,
I think it's on Ashley's.
It's Ashley Blackwood, yeah.
Oh, so is that the one I'm racing in?
Yeah. Can I just say, A, it turned me on. B, what's going on? It's been an interesting race. I mean, we've got literally a driver from your team who was 0.264 versus 269 of a second away from winning the race. David E. Baker, how close was that on the run down to the start finish line? David doesn't want to talk to me. I'm going to move on. Paul Smith, your RaceSpotTV commentator. Hello. How you doing? I'm alright. You good?
Yeah, not bad. Good finish in that race.
How was your race?
It was fun watching people crash off in front of me, making me get positions that I wouldn't have got if they'd have carried on. So yeah.
Did you get sexually nervous?
No.
Did you get slightly nervous over running in a racing form?
No, you get nervous commentating. I know that, but me, nah. I'm balls of steel. So
you see, if it's normal, it's okay. If it's not, if it's something crazy happen, I go full Murray Walker on everyone. I think that's the thing that pisses people off.
Well, you get excited. It's exciting racing that you're watching, so why not? You should get excited, absolutely.
I'm sat there.
Will Vincent and excitement, the two don't go together at all. It's like listening to the BBC, I tell you.
I see you, Mr. Coanda.
But yeah, I mean, it's finishing fourth in that race. Watching people get hit off left, right, and centre. I'm not complaining. It got me position, so I'm looking forward to the second race. That's for sure.
When does race 2 start? Is it in 6 minutes?
I think the session goes up in 6.
Yeah. It's
okay. Cool.
About quarter of an hour.
It means I get to take the piss out of more people. Rusty Ladler, how you doing, buddy?
How's it going, mate?
I'm not too bad. How was your race?
Really entertaining.
Did you get to the start of the grid and said, "Heaven's calling, heaven's here. There's nothing left for you to fear. Shake your ass, come over here, now scream"?
No.
What do you do instead? You just say, "I want to race, mother beeps."
Stay classy, San Diego.
Yeah, that's. Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
Hey!
I'm from San Diego.
I've got someone in my other ear right now that you can't hear that she said, "Oi, I'm from San Diego."
Yeah, I definitely said oi.
RaceSpotTV would like to apologise for the actions of Will Vincent there.
We should have a cross-channel interview.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego. Rusty, back to you. Race number 2. Race number 2. How do you think it's going to be?
Listen, no one cares about the race.
If it's anything like the first race, it's going to be absolutely wicked. I need to get myself up front again, and but no, that was really good fun.
What?
Right, I've also got the Mr. Man known as Stephen Burke. Steve, 139 machine. Salut, d'accord?
Bonjour.
Yeah.
Bonjour.
Hold
Ton race aujourd'hui, c'est d'accord? Oui.
Hugo, there's no anti-roll bar adjustment in this car.
I was going to try and do an entire interview in French, but it's not going to work. How was your race?
It was good up till, in fact, one of the best races I've had, actually, up till near the end. I think me and Rusty had a bit of a coming together, and I managed to clip the back of I managed to clip the back of Pete's car as well, so took my teammate out, which is always good.
Yeah, can you explain that situation down in towards turn 1 for us, please, in a little bit more detail?
I think I chose a slightly diagonal line, and Rusty committed to his as well, so yeah, fair.
You see, in over racing, it's called diagonaling off the corner. However, don't forget that the son of a random accident no one cares about talks about IndyCar, about people just going round and round in circles and doing nothing. So therefore, diagonaling means absolutely nothing at all, because of course the theology of a 14, 15-year-old kid is absolute bullshit, in my opinion, because if you watch an IndyCar race, it's the best thing you can watch in the world. After COTF, WTCC on RaceSpotTV. You see what I did there, Cam?
I'm guessing we're R-rated now.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I'm gonna say before we go any further, Will, have you pulled up the whole blinking "this is adult" thing? Because we had that issue before.
No, it's okay, because what I have on this is I have a button which I can press, which will basically tell the viewers that this is an R14 thing, which I've already pressed.
That was my question.
Yes,
That's
we can do that.
literally the words that came out of my mouth, and then you corrected me by saying the words that came out of my mouth.
Literally. Keith, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Your race today, talk us through it.
Got a half decent start. I had to avoid Ashley and Ben going off, but yeah, I was having a good battle with Ellis and Liam and Alexander for the first few laps, and then they all had a big coming together, and after that it was just keeping on the track and getting to the finish.
Well, race number 2 is always the entertaining version of our events here. How do you think it's going to be for you as we do another edition of this manicness that we call COTF WTCC?
It's going to be interesting because it's going to be hell going through the first corner. We're going to be 7th, I think, on the grid, so I'm going to have to do a hell of a lot of avoiding.
Well, good luck. We'll talk to you in race number 2. Andre 3000, Ashley Sutton, Alex Bristow, and Michael Hall are now live on RaceSpotTV. Hi, hey. You alright, guys?
You alright?
Yeah, I'm not bad, Ash. What happened?
Oh, well, no comment, because there'll be a lot of swearing going on.
No, you know, we can put the PG-14 sign up. What happened?
Ben Palmer is a total effing idiot. No, he's right. No, I just missed that calculation, I think. Caught the front of my car and we speared right, just like the incident in the GT Championship. Real life. Seen that.
Well, at least you can help iRacing's impressions that they're the most realistic simulator in the world, but race 2, of course, you'll be at the front of the field. Is that going to help you? And how do you think it's going to work from here on in? Because, of course, you had a kind of crap race 1, but race 2 is going to be so good. Might actually help you in the championship.
Well, obviously it's never going to be a help because we've lost out on a handful of points there. So automatically that's dropped me down from the lead in the championship down to 5th. But starting at the front, it's going to be a little bit easier than normal. But it's just the only thing I've got to watch out for is Ben being around me.
Is it going to be a case of if I'm not first, I'm last type of race?
Yeah, I think so. I've got to go out for the win this one and get. We haven't calculated pit stops, so that's going to be a gamble as normal. But we shall see.
Well, good luck. Race number 2, Michael Hall. Very quickly, you won the race. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, it was a good race. It was a good battle with David. I'm doing my best to hold him off. He was a lot quicker than me through the middle of the track and on the infield. So it was a good race, good battle.
Well, as far as we go for race number 2, we're not far away now from that second race of tonight. What are you going to do to try and get yourself towards the front of the field, knowing the fact that one of your championship protagonists is starting towards the front?
I think I just need to keep out of trouble, to be honest. As long as I can get through half of the field and finish the race, it's better than ending up in the wall. So, see what happens. There'll probably be a safety car though, so who knows?
Well, good luck for race number 2. We've got Andre 3000. Is he going to shake it? Shake it like a Polaroid picture. Yo.
Hey, he meant you went, that's a
You're
start.
right, Brock, what are you going to do? Like, innit? Like, he's going to talk to me about what you did in the race, you know what I mean? Like, Brock.
Come on, Ellis, talk.
Shake it like a Polaroid picture. Tell me what happened in the race, like, you know what I mean? Like, blah. Nope, and that means I'm going to head over to another team. Hello!
Run!
Run to the hills and run for your life! We're about 9 minutes away, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, so these drivers no longer want to talk to us. They will talk to us after the race, but not during RaceSpotTV mid-race show. That means we're going to step aside. Who wants to talk to me? Liam Atkins! You're right, buddy. How you doing?
I'm alright, how are you?
I'm not too bad, not too bad. How's your race?
Awful.
Why?
Well...
He can't drive.
I'll tell you what. I got home from work at about 5 minutes before the race started. The first thing I did is I found an open bottle of vodka and I had 2 big lugs of it. Then I started commentating. You don't do the same thing in race?
Firstly, I want to say I like your style. Secondly, I might try it. It might, it might help me.
I do have to say that Bernie says not to drink and drive, but this is sim racing, therefore, you know.
As long as you don't drink while you're driving, you can drunk drive.
Most of the NASCAR people are stoned half the time, so we're going to argue about that one? No. But your race overall, it wasn't so good in race number 1. Race number 2, of course, that gives you a better position. Are you focusing on race 2, and what do you think about now as far as points are concerned?
Just try and get it through turn 1 and see what happens from there.
Well, good luck to you on that one. We're going to step aside for a couple of minutes, ladies and gentlemen. We shall be back after these messages and a word from RaceSpotTV. And, well, it's promo video time. Woohoo!
Truex in the outside, contact made. 56 slides it at a 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Is it about speed? Do these rivals chase speed because they can? Or because they can't help it? IndyCar. The heart of racing. Go to IndyCar.com for live timing and scoring, upcoming race details, and to join the conversation.
Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tuesday nights here on RaceSpotTV. We are 2 minutes away from race number 2 being gridded here. As we've got ourselves Will Vincent, Cam Walsh, Dan Blake. We've also got ourselves Hugo Louise and Randy Chenoweth, and they're doing something else right now. I am going to talk to Randy Chenoweth about the upcoming 6 hours at the Glen. Hey, Randy, how you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself, Mr. Will Vincent?
I could be worse. I really could be worse, but...
Yeah, it could be worse. He could be talking to someone who's not me.
Yeah, 4GT. How's it doing?
Will iRacing sue us if I say what I want to say?
Yes.
No.
Okay, well, the respectable person said yes. Anyways, it felt okay. They claim they fixed the GT3, but evidence points otherwise. But, Aston Martin's fun, though.
If you were to send an email to grant.reeve@irracing.com as you see 3 drivers crashing there on your replay, then I'm sure Grant will be happy to hear your opinion. In the interim, Hugo Louise, how you doing?
Hello there, I'm fine.
Hello. Have you learned how to pit yet?
Well, I can't hear you, I'm just driving, sorry.
Well, that's Hugo Louise being incredibly...
He was busy being behind me.
Yeah, this is why
Hugo Louise.
This is why Hugo Louise runs in the Iceland.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. If he can't be bothered to answer your question, he'll claim he can't hear it. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, could be worse. And Cam, you still good?
I'm encountering something that's never happened before, and this is not good.
I think Cam found his penis.
Well,
I don't know what it does. No, I hear cars, but I'm stuck on the loading screen. Okay. Teething pains, I suppose. Somebody crashed.
Welcome to #newbuild. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are easily offended by use of naughty words, then I would suggest that you watch this race without listening to us, the commentators.
You can listen to me.
If you
but no one wants to listen to
have a nervous disposition, then turn away for about the next minute or so, because there's going to be a driver crashing down at the center S. In the meanwhile, welcome to race number 2 of tonight here on RaceSpotTV. We are down at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace, where this is going to be an interesting grid. We're going to put it on your screen quickly because you need to see it. We need to get ourselves ready to our race coverage. Palmer, pole position. Hot favourite to win the race because, of course, he crashed out in race number 1. Atkins second, Sutton third, then Alexander Day in 4th, Berg, Hamilton, Bunn and Stephens, Bristow, Sturtovich, Coletti, Newman, Smith, Laidler, Baker, Hall, and that is your 16-car field. That was done incredibly quickly, but we are now just 5 seconds for those lights going on top of the Eisen.com gantry. We are ready for race number 2 here. We are about to get underway here. Race number 2 will start, ladies and gentlemen, right about now. Drivers heading themselves down towards turn number 1 for the first time, and here we can see then it's a longer race. 35 minutes in towards that first corner they come. That driver of Ben Palmer still leads, but look at the drifting there. P2 drifting behind. Will they all make it? I have no idea. And we've got side-by-side racing, close quarter racing down in towards Curve de Sol and the back straightaway for the first time.
Very close racing, but Stephen Burke's made a great start. He started 5th and already up into 3rd position.
Well, here we can see Stephen Burke on your screen, right about now. And Burke is moving himself up for the field, running on board with him. And, well, Cam, clean start, lap number 1. Only one driver out of the race, and that is Alex Bristow.
Yeah, well, it sounds like everyone's gotten away rather cleanly. I haven't heard anything too dramatic just yet, other than the great start that we always see here at Interlagos. But ultimately, we haven't had that huge incident that we had at the start of the last race, and hopefully everyone can keep getting away, and we'll have a nice clean start to this race. But patience will certainly not be a virtue, though we do have a pit stop to look forward to some point in the future. As this is a 35-minute race, we certainly have plenty of time for some beating and banging.
Yep. And of course, in race number 2, drivers have to make a 1 pit stop. That will generally come around the midway point, but down from about minute 8 through to about minute 24, anything, especially at this racetrack, can happen.
Especially with different strategies. It'll be interesting to see who does what. Stephen Burke back to second place. Liam Atkins had a little bit of a slide. Some of the drivers are struggling even halfway, 3/4 of the way through the lap with the tyres, I think.
And it's getting the tyre temperatures up at the start of this event. We can see there, we'll turn that camera around, the Foul Race Online car there getting himself ahead of Ellis Stevens in that number 17 machine. The Power Max machine down to P number 14 as they head themselves on the exit of turn 1 and 2. Down for the Curve of the Soul, down towards turn number 4 and 5. They go 2 wide, they go 1 wide, they go 2 wide once again as they head themselves down into that corner. And that's the thing, really. These drivers have got themselves sorted out. And out front, Ben Palmer has done that one already. The gap between himself and P number 2 Cam was about 8 tenths of a second.
Yeah, everyone's still relatively close together at the end of the first lap, or at least the first couple of laps here. No, Ben Palmer's up front. Stephen Burke, who actually was doing fairly good last time by, the last race, is still up in second there. But ultimately, the first 6 cars are still within less than 3 seconds of each other.
Yeah, and then we can see Pete Newman, P6, at the rear end of this tail. He is 3.9 seconds behind your race leaders to head himself down towards Yun Sao once again. The issue about this track is, though, Dan, is that you get that kind of mediocre 0.6, 0.7 as a second gap. So you can't really overtake, you can't really do anything, and it becomes annoying for drivers.
So about to see maybe they can put the opposing car under pressure as well. That's a sort of distance where one mistake can see a position change. And speaking of mistakes, Liam Atkins made a big mistake going through the centre S on the last lap, and he's lost a lot of positions in that car of his.
Yeah, it's Pete Newman riding on board of him right now, down towards turn 1 and 2. The centre S riding on board of him then, as he comes through the Curve of the Soul.
I think we could see Pete maybe make a move for Mars Coletzi, very close behind the back of that car. Okay, Pete Newman down the inside, great move there, a bit of door banging, touring car style, but Newman is going to make a position, I think, on Coletzi, or the Coletzi round the outside cam. Looks like he's going to try and make a bit of a fight back here.
Yes, it is, and Coletzi there was able to hold off Merck, who was qualified up in second last race. So ultimately, Miles is good on the defense, but we'll have to see how long he can keep this up. I mean, with a race this long, you certainly can't expect to defend for too long. But everyone's absolutely going to be abusing the track limits here, at least when it comes to it. And which is a place like Interlagos, you really can kind of push these track limits out, especially with an ample runoff when we were talking about in race number 1.
Yeah, that final corner, just as like Pete Newman's coming around there now with that blue section, and Coletzi very wide. That's going to allow Paul Smith the opportunity to go down the inside. He takes it. He's taken Pete Newman as well. That's a fantastic move, but Smith's going to use a bit of momentum there, though, on the exit of the corner. But he's got past Newman at the moment, but I don't think it's going to last very long.
Yes, as live pictures return for myself. This is the second time here, but great. Now everyone's still, there's actually still a 3-fight battle. When did Ashley Sutton show up? Oh, he's probably been there all game, all race, but they are going 2 wide into turn number 1. Yes, yes, Sutton is up to, well, actually, there's a little premeditated. As Ben Palmer, coming out of the second turn, was able to get it. Now, actually, Ashley Sutton bowed back down into third, but right behind the tail of Stephen Burke. He'll go on the inside into turn number 3 here, and he'll make up the position, but Stephen Burke in a position to give him a little bump and run, which he elects not to do. They don't make contact, though the opportunity was certainly there, and Stephen Burke now looks to go to the outside. Sutton closes the outside door there. And now they'll go to the intersection here, and we'll have to see as they go single file. Stephen Burke, though, almost losing it and clipping into the rear end of Sutton there. But Burke making a couple of evasive maneuvers here, but ultimately they're keeping their cars relatively clean.
Well, sorry, carry on, Ben. Carry on.
I was going to say, that pack from 5th to 11th, very fraught. You've got Pete Newman, Mars Coletzi, Russell Laidler, Paul Smith, Magic Zagovic, Ellis Stevens, and also Keith Hamilton, really fighting hard. And Paul Smith on the outside, maybe about to lose a position there to the number 226 car. Miles Coletti. In fact, Paul Smith's just gone past Coletti. Coletti trying to make the response, but he can't do it. So Paul Smith up a position there.
So this three-car battle here up front is almost overshadowing, shadowing this battle, as we were talking about, between Pete Newman, Miles, Rusty Laidler, Paul Smith, and Makik Sakowicz there. Sakowicz there going onto the inside of Ellis Stevens onto the inside of turn number 1 here. Now, Makik was really caught out earlier in the race. That's how he actually lost that front pack, actually. When he was bumped into on the turn number 1 here, but he'll ultimately get the position over Ellis Stevens rather handedly. Now, this whole train of cars, as the front 3 have checked out from Alexander Day and everyone in hot pursuit, everyone is still relatively close, but Michael Hall, he hasn't really gone anywhere. He was up front. He'd won the last race. He's still 12 seconds off the rear end, and definitely not a great second race for Michael Hall, at least so far.
See a bit of I was going to say a bit of damage I see on Michael Hall's side on the car, at the side and on the rear, so I think Michael Hall has been involved in a bit of rough and tumble, but actually up to second place as well. But Stephen Burke not letting him get away very far. Stephen Burke not far behind, but it's going to be Sutton and Palmer again, I think, for a second race in a row, battling it out.
Yes, and Russell Laidler there, Rusty there, has moved himself up to 6th position. He started in 14th, so right now he is definitely the one who has moved the most for sure, as actually him and Pete Newman. Pete Newman had started in 12th and is up to 5th, though not as many as Rusty Laidler. But ultimately it's this front group here. I almost have to wonder if they clear these couple of guys between Pete Newman and Rusty Laidler, as it looks like they're trying to do. They look like they're going to go 3 wide into turn 1. Yes, they will. And
Oh my God! What an incident!
Yes, it was. There's actually that is 3-4 cars involved. The car of Miles Coletti is actually stuck in the tire barrier. Oh God! Don't look at it. It's just too terrible. But Alexander Day involved, Miles Coletti involved, and I'm sure we will have to get a replay of that if we can.
Not sure if Pete Newman saw the car there on the wall. It seems to have gone over. I think Pete Newman may be at fault for that one.
Well, we're getting ourselves a look from our aerial coverage brought to you by Antoine Design down and towards. And you know what?
I think the caution
that was
has
a
been
Fair
released.
Race Racing car. We have got the caution screen out there. 58 car from Pete Newman Design. Then we got ourselves a Fair Race number 21 machine. Then we also got ourselves one of the CQR cars down in towards turn number 1. I've not seen a fast an incident as that outside of Indianapolis in a very long time, Cam.
It was almost a little bit like Mark Webber's incident, though of course we have no idea. I don't believe there was any contact between or that caused the Mark Webber's LMP1 car to hit the Ferrari. But this was certainly obviously contact, but it was in the same location as Alexander Day. Kind of come across trying to get a decent entry into turn 1, because you need to take that as wide as you can. And between Pete Newman and Alexander Day, that started a chain reaction, which included Miles Coletti and I think 1 or 2 other cars, though. Quite dramatic for sure.
Well, we will step aside for one moment. We are under caution here. The pit road will open in about 2.5 minutes time, but we will take you, RaceSpotTV, side by side.
We're so excited to be bringing the Nürburgring to everybody. It's by far the most requested track that we've ever had. I've been with iRacing since the beginning. I can't tell you how many people I've met at trade shows or racetracks and demos that we've done all across the United States and even in Europe, and it's always the most requested track that we've had. And it's always been kind of a sad answer, no, we don't have it. When are you bringing it? And we never really had a good answer. And obviously we announced this last year, and it's super exciting. I mean, it really is one of the premier tracks in the entire world.
The Nürburgring, to me as a race fan, is the holy grail of racetracks. Even from the gaming aspect, just getting that car around that track was a personal achievement by itself. It's kind of got this iconic status to it that makes it different than any other track in the world.
We actually have a lot of history with the Nürburgring dating back about 20 years. We created a version of the track for Grand Prix Legends, which was a Formula One simulation for the PC. But this will be the first time that we've worked on the track with laser scan data, highly precise measurements, and of course the iRacing standards of quality. So we're really excited about this project and we can't wait to release it. There are two main facilities at Nürburgring. There's the Grand Prix course, which is basically a modern F1 style racetrack. And then there's the Nordschleife itself, which has been around for decades. And of course, the combined course, where you can take the Grand Prix course, drive around it, and then there's a point where you branch off onto the Nordschleife and you continue there all the way around the Nordschleife and then back down to the Grand Prix course. And the end result is an extremely large, unique racetrack. We arrived with a really large crew. Actually, 4 of us made the trip, and we spent a week there photographing the track, taking video recordings of the racetrack, the surroundings, the scenery, the towns. And when it's all said and done, we returned home with a massive amount of data. If you took our largest project ever, this is probably 4 times that size. So it's going to take a lot of work, but it's really our plan and our intent not to cut any corners and really produce and create the best version of the Nürburgring possible that we can. The terrain and topography of the area that surrounds the Nürburgring is really important to the character and accuracy and feel of the track. We're really working on new ways and methods and types of data that we can use to build the best topography and best terrain model possible. And it will be something never before seen in iRacing or racing sims in general. We have a laser scan of the track, and that laser scan is incredibly dense. Essentially, there's so many points that you could take a quarter and lay it on the laser points, and the quarter wouldn't fall through. So we're taking that level of detail from the scan, and we're trying to translate that into what you see in the sim.
You won't find the level of detail that we bring to tracks anywhere else. You guys expect that from us, and we'll continue to do that. It's not just purely laser scanned. It really will have personality, and I think that that's what's going to make our track unique.
Oh my god! The car just said nope.
That is the sound, ladies and gentlemen, of Randy Chenworth here on RaceSpotTV, and here is the view of your drivers. They are behind the RaceSpot.com first safety car as they head themselves down the back straightaway. We're right on board there. You can see that Matthew Byrne sees, rides it off on top of the RaceSpot.com first safety car, and that means that we go back to Green Flag Racing. This time by Will Vincent along with Cam Wallace, Dan Blake. We've got Randy Chenworth here from Comedic Effect. But Cam, we are about 30 seconds away from going back to green.
That we are in this restart going to be very important. Matthew Bunn and David E. Baker electing not to pit, which is insanity as far as I'm concerned. But anyways, David E. Baker, Matthew Bunn, they're going to be duking it out with no new tires. Everyone else, brand new tires. Stephen Burke coming out first in that entire thing. Ashley Sutton having dropped down 3 positions in that pit stop, which I don't even know how you can do under caution. But anyways, they're going to line up Will, and they're going to get ready to go.
Well, here you can see the field there working themselves down through turn number 14 on the racetrack. It's a corner that no one even wants to talk about because it's kind of dirty as a corner name, but it still exists in motorsports. It is essentially it's called the toilet corner. So these drivers head themselves through there. Now it is called the Sudoku boxes, and now they come through turn number 15, the final corner. Green flag back in the air. Down the drivers head themselves down in towards turn number 1 once again. Bunn from Baker, from Burke, from Lader, from Sodovic. They are the top 5s. They've got 2 wide already.
Yeah, Magic Sacrit's trying to have a little look down Rusty Layla, but Rusty, too experienced to let him go for that one. But at the moment, we've not had any contact yet. The cars are safely through this section here. I think I was maybe a bit harsh on Pete Newman. I've seen the replay. I think there was a little bit of both there, but which the accident brought the caution out. But so far, no incidents at the restart. But Russell Lader looking down the inside of Stephen Burke.
Here we're looking at this one. On board! Oh, the Pete Newman car being pushed wide there. Down in turn number 4. As they will see. Pete Newman side by side there. That's actually Pete Newman full race racing as they come down in towards Ferradura, turn number 6. In towards Curvatura La Virginia, turn number 7 here. On 2 of the fastest corners in all of Grand Prix racing, down into turn number 8. Pinera as they come now as well. The issue of this thing right now, Cam, is that you got fast guys alongside guys who are a little bit slower. Not slow enough that I can just put it. Oh! Pete Newman car turned around! Pete Newman car turned around! And that, in fact, I believe might be the Pete Newman car himself there.
No, that is Stephen Burke, but that is some obvious wheel damage on that car. That is definitely way too bad, as he actually got clipped in the rear and then straightened out with a punch right to the nose, and that's given him some massive wheel damage. So very unfortunate for Stephen Burke. Restarted in 3rd and was first as far as the cars that had come in pitting. Terrible for him right there.
Laidler and Baker seem to have had an incident on the start straight. Baker off in the wall. See what's happened to Russell Laidler. Russell Laidler's still going, but if I look at that back wheel, I think that's quite an extraordinary incident there.
Baker, we'll get ourselves a look at that one up on your screen in just one moment's time. There you can see Stephen Burke. Let's go and have a look at Stephen Baker down in towards turn number 1. You can see it's out of his own teammate, Cam. There's 3 teammates, pretty much nose to tail. And I think 2 teammates did just like Coulthard did and Hakkinen did. Oh, I think that driver Baker just got himself. His teammate got himself just a little bit too fast in towards the final corner. Baker got slid into the wall there. Baker is well down the field right now.
Yes, he is, and also the entry into turn 1 was very chaotic. As we were looking at that replay, Ashley Sutton ended up making up, I believe it was 2 positions, and Paul Smith ended up losing out and getting turned around and having his nose into the wall. They are still fighting right now, right at the front of the field. Ashley Sutton is right behind Rusty Laidler, and Matthew Bunn and Ashley Sutton in hot pursuit of those guys, with Ben Palmer, Mike Hick, and Michael Hall, who has re-entered this position, or re-entered the picture after this pit stop, and they all look rough and ready to tumble here as Ashley Sutton going on the outside into the very tight final turn, as I'll call it, even though there is a turn technically in the straight, but Ashley Sutton getting the position on the inside, on the straight, on the power with the touring car. I don't think there's a lot of power, but anyways, Ashley Sutton there, powering with what power he has, is ultimately moving himself up into 2nd after that terrible pit stop.
It's called hard on into the corner, but here's the issue. Laidler over 1.3 second advantage over Ashley Sutton there, 2 wide behind him as they come down in towards turn number 1. This is between right now the drivers of Sutton, Palmer and Bunn in towards turn number 1. Here's the crazy situation, Dan. If you're a driver who's not a CQR driver, do you accept the back end and just, maybe just accidentally force Sutton off the road?
That's an interesting question, because obviously Ashley Sutton wanted them meant to be. Same as Ben Palmer. Ben Palmer has had a talk about something, a little bit of a tap. That's a tap from the number 11 car, Matthew Bunn, onto Ben Palmer, and that stacked up the field. But as Cam said earlier, Michael Hall has been a big beneficiary from this safety car period. He was nowhere before, but now he's right in the thick of it.
Yeah, and we'll see how that goes over the last 15 minutes exactly of this race. 2 wide into Ferradura they come. Sadurich, actually it's not Sadurich, it's Hall versus Palmer in towards turn number 1. So it's not turn number 1, it's turn number 7 even here on this racetrack. Through turn 8, 9, that's when the area into Big Paso they come once again. Well, cow, we've got ourselves some great racing going on right now.
Well, that we do, and Matthew Bunn is absolutely falling down, perhaps regretting not pitting, but ultimately, though, Matthew Bunn will have to live with that consequences as Mychak Sakowicz is going, trying to power around on the inside, or whatever the term you told me that I already forgot, but Liam Atkins is watching on in the background, but Matthew Bunn going from 3rd position down to what will it be here at the line, like 5th or 6th position, with Sakowicz looking to go on the outside into turn number 1, which can only really end in true disaster unless he can outbrake him and pinch him down, which he is not able to do. but he manages to keep the nose and the tail. But ultimately, though, Mike Jack is going to have to sit behind Matthew Bunn once again. Hopefully, though, going into turn at number 3 or 4, whichever this turn is after the long straight, he will once again have the opportunity to make it a move. He will move on the inside, look to the nose. He will not get it done under braking this time but it does push Bunn wide, Will, and ultimately I think he's going to cave into pressure by the time they get to the intersection of this Interlagos track.
Yeah, simultaneously we've been looking at the driver of Miles Gillespie and also Ellis Stevens. They've been scrapping it out as they work themselves down towards turn number 6. Verdura, they come once again. I think this is one that Miles Gillespie has won for the time being. The answer is no. They can see the number 17 car round the outside, and what a move there by Ellis Stevens down in towards Cover de la Girana, in towards turn number 8.
Great move there from Ellis, quite experienced in his car. He's probably one of the most experienced drivers in this whole race in his car, but Miles is not taking no for an outside. A little look there down the inside just to let Ellis know he's still there, but Ellis Stevens a bit lower down than we usually see him, but he'll be hoping to get that move will help propel him a bit further up the field.
Well, getting ourselves a replay of this one. This is all the way back from the exit of turn number 4 and 5 down towards Verdura and Cover de la Girana. As they work themselves through that one now, they can see these two drivers getting themselves side by side. This is where you can make the move. You're on the inside line, generally, that's where you go better, but the outside line works there for Ellis Stevens and Cam. That's one of the best passes I've seen all season long.
Yes, it's we can always see some great passing maneuvers here, but ultimately, though, it is only for but a moment as Miles Gillespie will end up making the position before the lap is even completed under power there on the straight, and he absolutely blew away from
Oh, trouble, race lead! Sorry to interrupt you there, trouble in the race lead. Rusty Laidler, Ashley Sutton, we're going to car off there in the pack as well. And we've got Ben Palmer all the way off the racetrack. Well, this one has kicked off in a big hurry. Can I just replay this? Dan, talk us through it.
Yeah, looks like we've had a bit of kerfuffle here for the lead between Russell Laidler and Ashley Sutton. They've come out of the corner there. Ashley gone across the curb. It looks like he's hit the inside wall there, which has bounced him back into Rusty. And then Ben Palmer tried to get around the outside and then clip the back of Ashley Sutton, sending Ben Palmer off onto the grass. But definitely getting a little bit physical here in this battle for the lead. And Michael Hall is laughing all the way to the podium. He's now currently in 3rd place.
Yeah, we can see there Sutton going to push himself wide, and then he just touched the wall. And that's the incident there, where Sutton and Cam touches the wall. He comes back across the racetrack into the path of his competitor. And well, Laidler does still lead this race, but we don't know how damaged he is.
Well, that, but also Ashley Sutton going into turn number 1, looking to take the position, gets rear-ended as they go through the Son of S's, and Ashley Sutton is on the point now. Rusty Laidler looking on, but Rusty Laidler, though, looking to have the overspeed coming out of the exit of turn number 3. They will go into turn number 4, 2 wide. Rusty Laidler once again as they set up once again for the entry into turn number 4. Rusty Laidler, though, Ashley Sutton letting him over brake, and Sutton maybe looking to use his car. No, will not use his car as a brake, but ultimately, though, Rusty Laidler, though, back on point. Michael Hall now right in this, and Ben Palmer even, after being pushed out by Ashley Sutton, which is what we were talking about originally, is even right back now. And now this pace that they're doing is going to allow everybody to catch up as Rusty Laidler, Michael Hall looking to the inside of Ashley Sutton, and now we've got a 4-horse race, and it's only going to get bigger from here, Will.
Yeah, we're getting ourselves some Super Summer replays brought to you by And One Design of this crazy incident as they head themselves through on the exit of Bicker Passing. You can see there the exit has so much smoke around there. You got a driver going all the way off the racetrack, Tam, and you never want to see drivers ever off the racetrack, so we're going to circle that one for you and show you just how crazy this one is. But well, if you got a driver off here, then they're not going to get back onto the racetrack very easily.
I cannot see your magic pen. I will in a moment. Oh, yes, okay. No, I'm seeing where you're going with this. Yes, I do have to agree, but ultimately, though, Rusty Laidler and Ashley Sutton still too wide going into turn number 1 here. I feel like as we're watching great replays here, where there's still some great action up front here, but ultimately, Rusty Laidler now on the point as 0.6 of a second split the first 3 competitors of this race.
Yeah, and we are getting ourselves towards the back end of this race as well. We have spent a little bit of time looking at this, but the reason why is because it is the biggest moment you'll probably see all season long. There you can see Ben Palmer, but there you can see your race leader, and Rusty Laidler with Ashley Sutton right behind him. Dan, this one is going to be 2 non-team drivers going at it hammer and tongue. We run ourselves to the rest of the lap on board with Ashley Sutton. Take us through it.
Yeah, Ashley's really trying to get past Rusty Laidler here. They go down there into the left-hander, Sutton right behind Russell Laidler. But what these guys have been battling, Magic Sakovic has managed to get on the back of the pack. Sutton, another little lunge. Sutton and Laidler race each other a lot, and there's a little tap there from Ashley onto the back of Russell Laidler. But these 2 drivers have raced with each other for a long time. They're friends as well, so they know what each other's going to do, which is something which is quite important. If they know what they're going to do, they'll be able to predict what's going to happen a bit more. But Michael Hall might give Ashley Sutton something to think about here as they come now down towards the final turn onto the straight, because if Ashley Sutton isn't careful, he's going to have to defend from Michael Hall. But it seems like Ashley Sutton's had a good run, and as they come now to cross the start-finish line, Ashley Sutton will be trying to make that move into turn 1, but Russell Laidler saw it coming and he's defended that inside line.
That was a very good defensive move there by Sutton, trying to keep his competitors behind him there, Cam, but let's remember that you are in a two-way situation if you're running in P number 2 in this race.
Oh, that you are, and Laidler is doing all of the right things. Sutton would have had a massive exit coming out of 2, but Laidler just hogged that inside line and didn't really get on the throttle. Whether that was intentional or coincidental, I don't know. But also going down for position number 3, Ben Palmer out of the inside of Michael Hall with Mychek looking on. And notably, they are in side-by-side 4, position number 3, but they'll get very, very close, but it won't happen. They'll go 2 wide into the next set of corners here. The big right-hander, which goes into that. Another right long hander here, which sweeps into that very, very narrow hairpin. And that should give Mychek the position coming off here, but it does actually set Michael up for the apex of the other turn. That's why this is one of my favorite section to turns here. You can take the whole thing 2 wide, which you're seeing, of course, here on RaceSpotTV. This is Champions of the Future World Touring Car Championship Season 3 on 589 Autos, with about 5 minutes to go. But ultimately, though, Michael Hall was able to defend that position, but allowed Ashley Sutton and Rusty Laidler to get quite a large gap.
Yep, as we're now down to 6 minutes and 20 seconds here in this round of Champions of the Future's World Touring Car Championship. Dan, even though we have ourselves 16 drivers only in the field, we've got ourselves a very, very low attrition rate. We ride ourselves on board with Keith Hamilton, number 14 car, but let's get this, only 1 driver out of the race so far.
It's definitely a case of quality over quantity. You don't have to have 20-30 drivers have a great race. If you've got 16 drivers of a high quality in this top 5, especially, as I say, top 5, some of the best Kia racers we got on our race, and Ben Palmer, as he came down this, well, very wide there from Sagovic, but on the last lap at the end of the straight here, Ben Palmer's car snaking about everywhere. It's a joy to watch. You could tell that he was really, really pushing it. But speaking of pushing it, Ashley Sutton and Russell Laidler battling now. Sutton pushed that wide onto the AstroTurf area here, and Sutton is all over Rusty Laidler like a cheap suit.
Cam, you know what we need to do? We need to push it.
We do. We need to push it as Ashley Sutton looks to push it around the outside, trying to get into that hairpin, much like Mychek was doing. Actually, it was Ben Palmer, excuse me, as was doing the lap before. Ashley Sutton, very good at setting the cars up. He's now got the outside line inside the hairpin. He will have the inside turn. He will have the corner going to the apex, but he goes onto the grass. He'll come back on. We'll have to see if the stewards say hello to that one. But Ashley Sutton, they're looking once again now. They're almost trying to go 3 wide through the intersection here at Interlagos. Gentlemen, you cannot do that. I'm sorry. But Michael Hall looking to get very frisky on the outside, looking to get that overspeed. But Sutton is defending very well on the inside line. Michael Hall might get his speed as Ashley Sutton doesn't get a great exit, and actually Rusty Laidler doesn't get a good exit either. Michael Hall might have the opportunity to go up to the point of the race right here. All he has to do is go to the inside of Rusty Laidler, and now 4 cars. You can't, they're all silhouetted, they're all shadows of each other as they'll go 3 wide into turn 1. They're making almost 4 wide into turn number 1, Will, and we are almost done. They will make it into 4 wide, and it might not end well. Oh, yes, it will. Michael Hall will end up coming away with the point. And boy, that was quite a reversal of roles here as the last 2 cars, now the front 2 cars.
I'm amazed, actually. That's very, very good job, and it just shows the level of professionalism between these 4 drivers at the front. They can go 4 wide with very minimal contact, and that really is just shows the standard of driving we got here in this Champions of the Future race.
It absolutely does, and I'm actually kind of disappointed Will Vincent didn't cut me off and yell loudly. I was expecting that, I was waiting. But it didn't happen, which means that we will be able to continue our great commentary here of this 5-car battle for the win here almost, as we are almost out of time here. Only 3 minutes and 50 some odd seconds to go here at Interlagos, and Rusty Lather now looking to, they're still fighting with he's still fighting with Ashley Sutton, but Michael Hall is saying, yes, keep fighting, gentlemen, keep fighting.
Would you believe, though, Cam, that Michael Hall was at 13th place before the safety car? His fortunes have changed massively. He's in the lead, and with these 4 cars behind fighting, he's going to be in prime position to take the win. But you've got to think the drivers of Sutton and Laidler won't want to see Michael Hall winning, so they've got to try and work together, I think, to try and get back, because if Hall gets away, we've got about 3.5 minutes to go. They're going to struggle to get him back if they start losing him now.
Now that they are, and last lap times are about in the 1:39s. We'll actually have that for you as they come across the line this time by, as nobody looks to be going too wide, which is, I think, the first time all race. Ashley Sutton looks the nose down there, but that's simply to get Lather down on the inside. 1:37s. So they're running 1:37s, and with about 3 minutes to go, 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go, we will have simply 2 laps to go, as it is not 35 plus 1. So we'll have about 2 laps to go. They will be coming probably to the white flag. Maybe they should be coming to the white flag next time by, as Lather goes to the outside of Michael Hall. They managed to catch him on the exit of the Senna S's, and Lather and Sutton are both looking to get past Michael Hall in 1. They try to move as 1, and Sutton is looking to crowd out Michael Hall. He almost will do it. He'll actually have to back off as they go into the uphill right-hander, as they'll follow into the hairpin now, and Michael Hall will hopefully firmly stay in 2nd place. But with these touring cars, it is just it's a crapshoot right now as to who is going to be coming out where, especially in the twisty, turny bends of the inside of Interlagos.
You know what, Cam? I think as they were going up the hill there, when Ashley was behind Rusty, I think Ashley may have given Rusty just that little bit of a bump jab to push past him Michael Hall, and if so, very, very smart driving there from Ashley to help Rusty Laidler push in front of Michael Hall.
Yes, and now Michael Hall having to defend from Ben Palmer there, as though actually Ben Palmer actually has to scrub all of the speed that he can get, as you can get a rocket leap. And speaking of rocket leaps, Rusty Laidler having a great exit off of that corner. He has got the exact same speed as Ashley Sutton, about 140 hitting right now, about 145, 46, 47 at the line. They hit 150 miles an hour both, and they both brake at the same time, but Ashley Sutton is better at modulating the brakes and ends up using Rusty Laidler as a pick, and that catches all 5 cars up. Once again, they're all within another hair's breadth. Once again, Rusty Laidler is still on the point. Ashley Sutton is on 2nd, Ben Palmer is 3rd, Michael Hall in 4th, and my checks, oh my goodness, Sakowitz is in 5th position, and he is watching this going, please, somebody take somebody out, because that is a very easy way to make up positions. I almost feel like I'm calling out a horse race right now. These guys are so close together, with Laidler, Sutton, Palmer, Michael Hall, and Sakowitz all within the same breadth of one another here, as they will go once again into the insides. Nobody's going 2x2 into the hairpin this time. It's almost like they're learning. They want to get the exit to the hairpin, not the entry.
This is the final lap, Cam. This is one of the races when you really want to be able to hide the checker flag and let them go at it for another 10-15 minutes. But we're now coming down to the closing stages of the race, and I think that last corner, because obviously you've got the draft going down to the straight, and the straight is actually quite over, the finish line is actually quite a way down the straight. So what happens in the next couple of corners will be pivotal to what happens to this race. I think Rusty Laidler might have to get a bit defensive, because Ashley Sutton and even Ben Palmer are in striking range. I'll let you bring this one home, Cam. Oh, Ashley Sutton is straight into the rear of Laidler.
Yeah, as you say that, Ashley Sutton actually punts him and gives him speed. So Rusty Laidler here, now with the punt from Ashley Sutton, has got the speed. So it looks like Rusty Laidler will come home with had the win of race 2. Ashley Sutton looking to do, but Michael Hall and Ben Palmer, though, are there, drag racing to the finish. It will look like Michael Hall will finish in 3rd, and ultimately, though, Ashley Sutton will come home in 2nd. Rusty Lather will finish in 2nd, and Ben Palmer will finish on his roof. But I guess that is something that we come to expect here. But ultimately, man, well, the finish on the actual last lap might not have been too terribly exciting. Boy, that was an amazing 15 minutes of straight racing between like these five guys right here, and that is just simply an astonishing stint, as it were, from that caution onward to the check-in, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. The top 5 drivers separated by just over 0.7 of a second. The gap between Russell Laidler, who won, and Magic Sakic in 5th, 0.701. So, with extremely close racing. And Russell Laidler started this race in 14th position, gone through the tape lead. Michael Hall started 16th and finished 3rd. So, really great racing from those two to get through the field. And I think this has got to be one of the greatest moments in Champions of the Future history, this battle. Really great stuff between these 5, and as I said before, it's a shame we couldn't hide the checker flag for a couple of extra laps.
Oh, that it is, but I'm almost wondering if we possibly lost our camera, and we actually lost Will. That's why, as somebody's saying, are we watching the same race as the commentators? Well, Race Spot Radio also here, popularity, but just trying to paint the picture here, you had these 5 cars just going throughout the whole thing. If it wasn't, I'll have to double check to make sure that we had that streamed. But ultimately, though, just a sensational finish, and we'll have to see if we can't get our rear ends over to the Mummels for some driver interviews, as I'm sure people are going to be wanting to talk about this for quite some time. We've had some great finishes over the last month of May, really close, 2 Indy 500s that are close, a couple of V8 supercar races that are absolutely close, and now yet another touring car championship that is super close. So we'll have to figure out what's going on there. But Dan, just to go through, boy, after that caution, it set the stage, and boy, did it deliver.
Yeah, it was like the blue torch paper was well and truly lit. Position switched around a little bit as well, under the safety car, as we saw before, with people with some people losing positions under the safety car, and I think that just spiced up the race a little bit more. It sorted them out, and that was a really, really good end to the race after the safety car. And I think, as I said before, one of the moments of the COTF WTC of all the seasons they've done so far.
Yeah, and a great finish to that, as round 5 is the finale, correct?
I'll have to have a look. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure myself, but ultimately, though, some great racing throughout, and boy, I'm just trying to think of what might have happened to our steady and firm cameraman and lead commentator Will Vincent here. This is kind of unforeign territory. I think he might just be watching us, letting us simmer here. I'm not quite sure. But ultimately, though, we're going to take a quick minute. You guys can take a quick gander at the Interlagos pit box, and we'll have to see what's going on. We will definitely get back to you in just a moment. So we've figured out something or other, and we'll end up having to close out minus the driver interviews, which is just a terrible thing to have happened. I'll actually see if I can't maybe get a couple of people from the Mumble over here to our servers here, as we're having a little bit of difficulties here with the peoples getting connected. But ultimately, though, Dan, we did find out where the series is going with this, right? We're not certainly done with the series.
No, they're far from done, because after this, next week they go to Monza, the 16th of June for round 6 on the GP circuit. Then the following week, 23rd of June at Motegi East. Then they finish the championship on the 30th of June at Phillip Island. So we've seen some fantastic racing today, and we're going to have a whole lot more coming up on RaceSpotTV over the next few weeks here from the Champions of the Future World Touring Car Championship. And a fantastic battle, and it really did show the level of professionalism and respect. Then we're going 4 wide down the front straight into the first turn. There's a little bit of contact, but very, very minor contact. All 5 drivers who were in that lead pack managed to go through and finish the race. So an absolutely fantastic display of professionalism and respect, I'll say, from those 5 drivers. And you've got drivers like Ashley Sutton, Rusty Laidler, Ben Palmer, all who pretty noticeable honours on the real racing circus. Obviously Ashley Sutton racing for Team BMR in the Renault Clio Cup. A bit unfortunate for Ashley this weekend with his racing, but he'll bounce back. The next round he's got is at Croft at the end of the month, so good luck to Ashley Sutton for that. You've got Rusty Laidler and also Ben Palmer. Ben Palmer not currently racing, I don't believe, but also someone who's had very good success in the MG Championship, and I believe that Cam is going to have the first of the interviews for us.
Well, that we do. We're trying to hustle some peoples in here, as this is kind of foreign territory for us here as far as the commentary goes. But ultimately, though, Paul, everything seemed to be going so well until there was a little bit of an incident with you over in turn 1.
Yeah, I was a little bit down the inside of Michael Hall. We had a little bit of contact, and I couldn't keep it out of the wall. I ended up going into wall side to pit then. Meant that I dropped down pretty much to the last. Tried to keep up with Steve Burt, but unfortunately couldn't get him. So yeah, disappointing second race after such a good first race.
Well, that it was, and you did have such a very good first race there, but ultimately, though, we're going to be going to Monza, I think we said next, and nothing bad's ever happened at Monza. You guys were just there in the V8 supercars, and so now you're going to go there in these Kias. You looking forward to it?
I love Monza. It's a fantastic track to race at, and we raced here last season, so I'm looking forward to it. It's a great challenge, plenty of overtaking spots. I love it.
Right, well, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yes, my teammate for taking out Dave Baker, one of our fellow teammates. Rusty did a damn good job on him.
It was for the greater good.
Right on. Right, well, with that, my dog is actually stuck under a coffee table behind a box, and the cat is, like, making it so she can't get out. It's
at least
very
it's not throwing up.
It's elite. No, it's not today. Not today. Though she might get there if she stresses out anymore. Though we do have quite a few other people. Actually, we have Dan Blake with us, Dave Baker, and Matthew Bunn as well. But first, we'll go over to Dan Blake, as he kind of missed out on that whole battle there. Actually, Dan, I'm not even seeing where you were on the results. Were you even in the second race?
I was commentating with
you.
You're
commentating. You're with me. Wow. I am good at this game. I am awesome. Jesus. Right. So I believe Dan Blake, who's going to interview somebody else, and then I'm going to go and find some hard liquor, which shouldn't be hard to do.
I'm going to speak to Rusty. Rusty, that second race, I know.
Go save the dog.
Both being racers, you must have really enjoyed that. They looked like really fun racing out there.
That was absolutely wicked. I was having to work for that with everything that I had, but when I get the bit between my teeth, that's it. It was words can't describe how good that race was. I mean, even from all parties, myself, Ash, Bertie, and Palmer all spoke after the race, and we just said that was absolutely wicked.
A lot of respect there, and it just shows the quality of driver in this series. You're 4 wide going into turn 1. A little bit of contact, nothing major. Everyone continued on, and I think that epitomised just what this series is all about.
Oh hell! I'm flabbergasted. I'm really lost for words. It's not very often I can say I'm lost for words. Yeah, there were so many times that if it was any other, I don't mean to sound disrespectful or sound like a knob. There were so many times if you try to do that with other drivers, it can end in tears. I mean, there was an incident early on in the race with myself, Pete Newman, and Alex. We went 3 wide, and there was loads of space. And the next thing I know, Alex and Pete went flying off on the left-hand side of the track. But yeah, that last 5-6 laps, or however long it was when Ash started fighting with me. I mean, come on, everybody knows how quick Ash is and how good he is on the brakes. But to be able to defend that and attack back, that was the fact that I managed to lunge up the inside of Sutton. Not many people can say that. I don't even think Morton Eels can say that yet, because he just barges his way past.
Definitely. I said during the commentary, the fact that you and Ash race together so much means that you sort of know each other's playbooks as such, so it has to be something special for you to get one over on each other.
Oh, definitely. Like, whenever I've beaten Ash, it's normally because he's gone easy on me in the last lap or so. We always have a hard race, like myself, Ash, Bertie, and a few other guys. We're all part of CQR, close quarters racing, and obviously that goes to show. I think we've probably been members. Well, I've been members with them at least 2012. So like we kind of know the ins and outs of how we all react and how we all shift about and stuff. So it's like a bit of a second nature. You kind of know what's coming, and especially with Ash coming into corners, you know he's gonna go to the inside and he's gonna feint to the outside to make you think you're safe, and he's gonna sell you the dummy. Ash, you need some new tricks. You become unpredictable. If I can predict what you're doing, sort yourself out, lad.
Very well fought win, and you gave you a little bit of a helping hand that last corner. You gave that little bump to get the extra speed coming up the hill.
I had to park it on the apex. I went in a bit too deep, and as soon as I knew I went too deep, I was just hard on the anchors to get it turned in and blocked. And yeah, that worked perfectly. I think the back end of my car might need to be straightened out for the next round, but I can live with that.
A good win, Rusty. As far as your iRacing career goes, where does today's victory rank amongst those?
That's probably one of the best. I would say that was the best. I feel bad for the incident earlier on with myself, Matthew Bunn, and David Baker. It seems like iRacing physics really helped with that, because I don't know how. I thought I was the goner there because I went over his nose and then I sort of tank slapped back. So I haven't looked it back yet to see why Baker ended up in the wall, but yeah, I feel really bad about that one. But for pace and actual fighting and racing, that was probably the best race I've had on iRacing to date.
Thank you very much, Rusty. Congratulations on your victory. Anyone you'd like to thank at all?
I'd like to thank me. No,
there you go.
Involved. I really do. It's been such a shame to see this championship tail off, and that race there has proven just how good it really is. You know, you can have 30 cars on the grid, you can have 16 cars on the grid, and you can still have fantastic racing. I'll release a little bit of a nugget of information. We're looking at changing things next season, potentially running 2 different cars as well. Still to be confirmed. If things turn around, we may stick with the Kia, but we're looking at other options. We're trying to mix things up a bit, and we know of 2 cars that work well together, really, really well, and anyone can jump in and drive. So, we'll see what happens, but yeah, everyone involved in the running, everyone involved in racing it, and yourselves commentating and broadcasting, it just makes it for an awesome package.
Thank you very much, Rusty. We look forward to those future developments, and I think Cam Walsh is now in the pit lane with another driver.
Oh, yes, I am. My trusty cohort and commentator is always Dan Blake, friend, person, man. As we do have David Baker here with us. David, you were the only one that really didn't get to finish, and ultimately kind of a rough second race. So between the first race and the second race, not exactly the result you wanted to see, but, well, what can you do?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I lost it at the start. It was my own mistake. Was lucky with the safety car to get me back up to the front, and then, yeah, Rusty and I had our little incident, but I'll tell you what, getting to watch that race was, might not have taken part in it to the end, but watching it all the way through, sort of cheering Rusty on was definitely a treat that I'm going to remember.
Well, that it was. Just an amazing finish to that race, and ultimately, though, you can't really do too much. You can't really go too far once the car is busted, but you can put it on the hauler and take it over to Monza. And Monza, are you excited for it? It's I've heard rumors that there might be chicanes.
Oh yeah, definitely excited for Monza. It was the one race I managed to join with these guys last year, and I think I finished second to Sutton, who got me on the last lap. So if I can come back and go one better, that would be amazing. We've seen it can be done, so...
Well, that it would. And, of course, Champions of the Future also with a V8 Supercar Series. Were you there last Thursday at Monza?
No, I wasn't there last week, but I did watch the broadcast back, and, yeah, those guys
Mr.
got a hell of a show.
Yeah, so hopefully we can put on a similar show, which of course you can always watch the V8 Supercar Championship Future race at Monza here on the YouTube player for the RaceSpotTV channel. But hopefully the Kias will have quite a similar performance, obviously not as fast, but always just as fun. Dave Baker, anybody you'd like to thank out there?
I'd just like to thank all the guys, everybody involved in running this, you guys for doing the commentary as well. It's always an awesome thing to watch back, so yeah, just keep on doing such a great job.
Well, we'll try, and of course, we'll try and figure out what happened to Will Vincent. But we have just one person remaining. That's Matthew Bunn, and he's with Dan, and again, my trusty commentator, whom I'd never forgotten before, down here at the Interlagos pit lane.
Yeah, we have Matthew Bunn. Matthew, bit of different strategy for you there at the safety car. You decided to stay out instead of going to the pits. What was the logic behind that one for you?
Yeah, well, I didn't have a very good start to the race. Had a little bit of an episode at the beginning, dropped back to pretty much last. I decided to pit early because I was behind some hot air of another car. Decided to quickly come in, just get my fuel and not worry about tyres. Then I come out and luckily, yeah, the safety car come out. Everyone then pitted and I managed to start the second half of the race sort of in pole position. I obviously knew that all the guys behind me were going to be super fast, so I think about 5 guys overtook me, but I managed to stay sort of 2 seconds behind that leading group. So yeah, come home 6th. Really happy with that.
A fantastic result there for you to finish 6th, and a little stroke of genius there with that decision to come in early. And what was it like seeing that battle in front of you? It looked quite fierce.
Oh, it was awesome. I was just ashamed that I went a little bit quicker so I could get in amongst it, really, but it was great to watch from behind.
Is 6th one of your best results so far in the series?
Yeah, that's my best result. I've been sort of moving up. I've been averaging sort of 10th place. I think I got a 9th and an 8th, and yeah, so 6th place, brilliant. I'm really happy with that, and got some points for myself and points for the team, so it's all good.
Very well done. As I say, points means prizes. Next, the series goes on to Monza. What are your thoughts about going over to Italy for that one?
Yeah, I'm really excited for Monza. Really like the track. It's the same as Interlagos, really. So hopefully, I like Interlagos like Monza. So hopefully, I can get a similar sort of finish.
Very well done, Matthew. So that's Matthew Bunn, 6th place in race 2. Anyone you'd like to thank for this evening's racing?
Yeah, same as everyone else, really. Just everyone that organises it, and your commentators and everything. It's just everyone's great. It's great to be a part of it.
Thank you very much, Matthew. So that was Matthew Bunn. And Cam, just before we wrap up, we could review the racing, but I just don't know where we'd start on that second race. An absolutely fantastic encounter there between 5 of probably the very best Kia drivers on the service.
It did, and hopefully we can run through the old footage and we'll see what exactly we've gotten as our lead, our guy, Will Vincent, is obviously no longer with us right now, but ultimately, though, the show does go on, and I think we can wrap it up fairly well here at Interlagos, or here on RaceSpotTV. We'll see you at Monza. This has been the Championships of the Future World Touring Car Championship. Of course, this is Season 3, 5th round, and we'll see you all later, so take care, and we'll have a good one.